shall we start with understanding the Salesforce CPQ? Are we all ready?
Yes.
All right, let's try to understand this. Imagine you are a company which is trying to sell computer hardware. And in that case, the challenge that you face a lot of time is that you need a technical person in order to make the sales happen. Why? Because in that case, the technical person should know what all products go or are compatible with the product that you're trying to sell to your customers. And a lot of time, even the customers are not sure what products they are looking for. So for all of that, you need a person who's first going to identify and analyze the requirements that the customer has. And after identifying and analyzing the customer's requirement, they have to suggest the products. And of course, they can only suggest the products if they have the technical expertise onto that. And after just analyzing what all products can be sold to the customer, we of course need to send a quote, but like from getting the requirement to quote, there is a journey, and let's try to understand and figure out what that journey looks like. So first you'll have to add the products or create a list of the products that you that will suit the needs or the requirements of the client or the customer that you're trying to sell it to. And you have to like with those computer hardwares, you also have to create a list of compatible products that goes along with the computer hardware or all of the products that you're trying to put into that list. And they should be compatible, right? So let's take an example. You're trying to suggest a motherboard, but the RAM that the salesperson has added into it is not compatible with that particular RAM motherboard, right? So that is going to create a bad experience for the customer to have that in the quotation once everything goes well, and if the customer buys that, and if the computer is not even working, so it will not make much of the sense, right? So yeah, we need those technical expertise in order to sell the customer the right product according to the needs and requirements. And that's exactly where the first word of CPQ comes into the picture. That is configure. What configure means is configuring the products or probably the right products that the customer would want or need according to their needs and requirements. And that needs to happen on scale, right? You can only have that many technical people taking care of all of those requirements. And if you'll be running short of those people, you'll be, and if you'll be dependent on those people, you'll not be able to scale up your business, and that's not the right way to do your business. You always would want to scale your business, right? So in that case, you need a product like Salesforce CPQ. You need a solution like Salesforce CPQ in order to help you configure the right products, even if the salesperson who is trying to configure that does not have the capacity, ability, or the right knowledge to configure it. And how can we do that? With the help of a product like this, right? So that's one part of it. Number 2, pricing. So when we say Salesforce CPQ, it's divided into 3 parts, right? Configure, pricing, and quote. And I know I'm skipping a lot of history behind it, but I'm so much interested into telling you the capabilities of CPQ because I don't know why, but this is very close to my heart. Because I have so much empathy for the sales users out there and the challenge that they face in order to complete the quote to cash cycle. Not quote to cash cycle, but yeah, I mean, do the complete sales cycle. That this is one of the Salesforce products that I enjoy explaining the most. So let's talk about pricing before we move into the history of Salesforce CPQ. So when we talk about pricing, what happens a lot of times is the pricing of a product, the right pricing of the product is very complex, right? If you want to sell this product at this particular quantity, it is going to cost this much. Or probably for this kind of a customer, this costs this much, but for this kind of a customer, this costs this much. For this kind of a contract that we already have in place, the pricing is going to be different, right? Or for different locations, let's say the pricing is going to be different. So all of these things, in order to do all of those things, the sales executives needs to just like go through a lot of price lists and price books, and you have to rely on to their efficiency to go through the price books as early as possible, as fast as possible, and then create a quotation according to that, and expecting that they're not going to make an error. And you know how the errors looks like when it comes to pricing in the quotation, right? Even if 1 0 goes from here to there, or even if 1 digit gets eliminated, it costs you so much, right? It really costs you much, not just in terms of revenue, but also in terms of the brand reputation that you have. So in this case, you would not want any errors to be done just because your sales executives were not able to deliver the right thing. just because your sales executives are not able to put in the right prices doesn't mean that it should cost you brand reputation or a lot of money as well. So Salesforce, a product like Salesforce CPQ or Salesforce CPQ helps you make sure that all of these pricing related errors does not happen, and not just errors does not happen, but also what all pricing goes for what all locations, what all customers, based on different criterias. You can have different price books or different pricings and different pricing rules that will help you put in the right amount of money so that your quotations do not have any chance of the error, right? And what kind of error? Of course, the financial information that you're going to provide into that. Then comes quote, which is the third part of Salesforce CPQ. Configure the right products, put the right pricing in, and then provide the quotation. So that's the third part of it. And when I said pricing, it just doesn't include the pricing from the price books and the price, then the list prices, but also includes the right discounting that you can apply according to different contracts, according to different customer segments, according to different type of customers, according to different locations, and all of that stuff, and according to the quantity as well. So all of these things can be taken care of with Salesforce CPQ or with a product like Salesforce CPQ. Then comes quotation or quote. Quote is, right, what quote is. What you want is, you don't want your sales executives to work for 7 days or 10 days or probably 15 days to provide a quote to a prospect or to a customer, right? You want that to happen in less than 1 day in order to fast track your sales cycles, right? And that you cannot do unless you have the experts who are very good with the technical expertise of the business that you are into in order to configure the right products. And they have all of the information about the pricings and the pricing rules and the discounting rules and all of that stuff, which even by mistake that making sure that it doesn't happen. And also there should be the amazing people out there who should have amazing representation skills, with the help of which they are creating amazing quotations, looking at which your customers are getting wowed, looking like a wow. So your customers are getting wowed and are ready to work with you and are ready to provide you the order for the same, right? So finding all of these three skills in one individual is really very, very difficult. But having a product like this helps you create beautiful quotations with the right templates, making sure that there is no error being made. And even if there are some things that goes here and there, identifies or highlights it to you before you sending that quotation to your customer so that errors can be eliminated, right? So when you configure the right products, when you provide the right pricing and the right discounts and the right pricing rules, and then you provide the quotation to your customer, and all of that in very minimal time, that's exactly what Salesforce CPQ is. I know I've been going very off track in this, but I guess I'm saving you half an hour of the effort by just going directly about explaining Salesforce CPQ, because as I said earlier, it's very dear to my heart. Because I have a lot of empathy for the sales people, because I love to do sales, right? So I not really do that, but all right. So yeah, that's what Salesforce CPQ is, and that's what CPQ, configure, price, quote, means. And this is a perfect example or perfect use case of any business which can use a product like Salesforce CPQ and reduce the time of sending the quotations, reduce the errors made by sales executives, reduce the requirement and dependency of expert sales people in order to make sure that the right products are being sold, bundled or configured, and just does all of those things. Like it does all of those things like magic. So that's what Salesforce CPQ is. Now let's come back to the history. Salesforce CPQ earlier was an app exchange application. It was earlier known as SteelBrick CPQ. It was created on top of the Salesforce platform, and later Salesforce acquired it in 2016. There were other CPQ products also which were there and which were compatible with Salesforce, like Aptus. But the reason SteelBrick, the reason that I know, right? No offense towards Aptus, but the reason that I know SteelBrick got acquired by Salesforce and then it got rebranded as Salesforce CPQ is because because SteelBrick CPQ was using the core objects of Salesforce rather than having more custom objects in order to deliver the same functionality, and hence, of course, it got acquired and then got rebranded as Salesforce CPQ. So that's what it is. It helps you do configure price, configure price and code, and it also helps you streamline the code to cash cycle. Does it?
Yes, it does.
All right. So yeah, it enables your sales teams to swiftly configure product bundles, the right product bundles, of course, generate codes with the right pricing, and yeah, beautiful representation of all of those things, and also making sure that all of these things are getting recorded as well. So like, let's say one sales executive created a quotation almost 15 days back, and now that employee is no more there in your organization. So now who knows who created which which quotation, and where is that quotation, and can we even rely on to the quotation provided by them or not. So all of that gets taken care of by Salesforce CPQ itself. So yeah, that's pretty much about the history of it. Are we good with that?
Yes.
Do we have some questions in there? And let's go through the presentation that we have created, or the slides that we have created, in order to quickly cover up all the points that are written there. I'll come to you. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right. So we have configure, ease of use, compatibility check, real-time validation. It helps you do all of those things, which we have already understood. The price thing, automated pricing rules, discount management, and price transparency. So what that means is, according to the customer profiles, according to the sales agreements, and according to the product configurations, it automatically picks up the price, or the right price, I would say, that should go into that particular quotation. It manages the discount, like what level of discount is allowed onto for this particular customer, or for this particular segment, or for this particular quantity. All of this can be configured and can be validated, right? And there is price transparency that is there with all of these things. Then comes quote. Professional presentation gets done. You can customize the quotations along the way, and you can just like on a click of a button, you can share that with the client or with the customer of yours.